Here at thewizard.com, we know there is a lot of concern with how systems have performed in the past, particularly this past year when so many professional investors, advisors, and funds lost so much money. And while we can tell you that the Wizard called the market short, it's quite another thing to show you. And so for this reason, the Wizard offers histories for all of our market calls. This includes all of the stock markets, sectors, industries, stocks, ETFs, futures, and forex. All you have to do is click on any trend arrow anywhere on the screen, and you'll be taken to a calendar to see how we've called the trend for that particular security. To identify the trend, the Wizard uses a simple color coding system. Bright colors indicate a strong trend. Bright green means the trend is strongly moving up, and bright red means the trend is strongly moving down. Dark colors indicate a weaker trend. Dark green means the trend is still up, but the strength of this uptrend is weakening. Dark red means the trend is still down, but the strength of this downtrend is weakening. It is important to understand that if the trend of the market or of any sector, industry, or security you're trading is dark green or dark red, it is best to stay out and wait until a strong bright green or bright red trend signal is received. Here are some examples that illustrate just how accurate and how powerful the Wizard's market calls have been. To see how the Wizard has called the stock market, click on the long-term arrow for the S&P 500. This will take you to the calendars showing you how we've called the S&P's weekly trend. Clicking back to 2008, you can see by the many bright red squares that the Wizard called the market short for much of the year, including during the crash of last October. While most investors and pundits were completely caught off guard, the Wizard had been short the market since June 2008. As a result, our subscribers were well positioned to take full advantage of the many profitable shorting opportunities in the market. And it wasn't just last year in which the Wizard has excelled at calling the market. As you can see, the Wizard has done it for the last decade. So while the professional investors have had trouble keeping their heads above water, wondering what the market might do next, the Wizard has been calling it right no matter which way it moved. Want more proof? Here's a record of how the Wizard has called the S&P 500 since March 2000. The green arrows indicate the times when the Wizard called the market long or up, and the red arrows indicate the times when the Wizard called the market short or down. During this same time period, if you had bought and held the SPY, which is the ETF that tracks the S&P 500, you would have experienced two significant multi-year losses, and in total would have lost 47% during this time period. However, if you had used the Wizard, you would have made money throughout, for a total profit of 192%. In other words, you would have made 4 times as much money using the Wizard than if you had bought and held stocks. But the Wizard does more than just call the market. You can also see the trend histories for any stock, ETF, futures, or forex in our system. To do so, simply click on the trend arrow next to that security in any of our scan screens. Here are some examples. AIG is famous for its collapse and government bailout, but long before it ever made the news, it popped up on our radar screen as the Wizard called AIG short on July 13, 2007, 15 months before it made the headlines. And here's what it's done since. General Motors is still in the news for its ongoing government bailout, but long before anybody was talking about it, the Wizard called it short on November 9, 2007. Since then, its stock has collapsed. And Citibank, yet another company making news for its troubles, was called short by the Wizard on June 29, 2007. And here's what it's done since. For everything in our system, the Wizard shows you the long-term trend history, the short-term trend history, and the 10-day trend history. When you click on the short-term button, you'll see a history of daily trends. And by clicking on the 10-day history button, you'll see the 10-day trend histories of that stock, its industry, and its sector. Once you've seen how accurately we've called anything you may trade, you'll be able to trade with much more confidence because you'll know that if something moves in either direction, the Wizard is going to catch it. But there's also another huge benefit to using our trend calendars, and this is to trade using a strategy known as sector rotation. Sector rotation simply means that you identify sectors as they are strengthening or weakening. This allows you to get into strong sectors just as they are breaking out and into weak sectors just as they are breaking down. This strategy can be very powerful because it allows you to get into trends early. When using this sector rotation strategy, you always want to make sure that the trends for the stock market, sector, industry, and stock all match, as you can see in this example of AIG. In this example, all of these trends are down, and only then would we look for a pre-sell on AIG. Now let's see how to implement the sector rotation strategy. As we've mentioned, you'll first identify the stock market's trend. We can see by the double green arrows that the trend is strongly moving up. Next, we'll go to the Browse Sectors section. For every sector, you can see the 10-week trend history, which shows you how that sector's trend has progressed over the last 10 weeks. In this example, you can identify the sectors whose trends have just changed to bullish very recently. This tells you that these sectors have just begun to break out. This is important because getting in on a trend early gives you the best chance to ride it out as long as possible. For all sectors, you can also view a 10-day trend history, as well as a combo trend. The combo trend shows you the last 10 days of both the short and long-term trends for all sectors. For the next step, we've selected the transportation sector, and we can see a list of its industries. Once again, you'll see the 10-week trends for each industry. In this example, we can see that the transportation ship industry has just turned very bullish. We can now get in early on this trend. Clicking to see the stocks in this industry, we can see a number of pre-buys for you to choose from. So not only do you have plenty of potential trades, but you'll also have the confidence of knowing that each one is a very strong candidate to make you money. As you can see, the Wizard's simple but powerful trend tools allow you to trade with ease and confidence.